So we're here to ask the question, what does a feminist utopia look like? Well, it might just look like the 1993 action movie Demolition Man. I know what you're thinking. How can that testosterone-filled action film depict a feminist utopia? Well, you'd be surprised. Surprised not only at how accurately it depicts a feminist SJW utopia, but how accurately it models events occurring in Europe today. Before I begin, I do have a couple of things to say. Number one, this movie is awesome. It's one of my favorites, and if you haven't seen it, stop watching right now, go watch it, and come back. I'm certain that I'll be calling out a few spoilers in this, and not that the plot's overly complicated. I mean, they don't really go out of their way to hide anything. And two, there are legitimate gripes feminists can make about this film. It's a movie with pretty much a sum total of two women in it, one of which is a sidekick / supporting cast member, and the other one is not only an extra, but a cook. And, I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to virtue signal in this film. It really does play like a movie from a bygone era, highlighting some advancements feminists have actually made in the movie industry. It's also an open celebration of the virtues of masculinity, but it also serves as a sort of prescient warning as to what happens if you emasculate society. Alright, having gotten those couple things out of the way, let's talk about why Demolition Man depicts a feminist utopia. To start with, given the technology, they can literally reprogram the minds of men to be more feminine.
You will be placed in cryostasis for the duration of your sentence, during which your behavior will be altered through synaptic suggestion. You'll be eligible for parole no earlier than the year 2046.
Okay, let's hear a little bit more about what this synaptic suggestion entails.
Look, I don't know what you guys put into my cryo slush, but when I thawed out, the first thing I wanted to do was knit. I mean, how come I know what a zipper foot and a shuttle and a hook and bobbin and a petty point is? I can weave a throw rug right now with my eyes closed.
It's part of your rehab program. For each inmate, the computer draws up a skill or trade which best suits their genetic disposition. And it would implant the knowledge and the desire to carry out whatever training was assigned.
What better way to rehabilitate a violent man than to implant a needlepoint suggestion into his psyche and give him a compulsion to do it? I mean, they literally scramble his brains to remove free thought and self-determination. This is pretty scary Orwellian stuff here. Clearly I'm just being alarmist, right? I mean, real feminists wouldn't advocate for reprogramming men, would they?
Invest millions of dollars in grassroots organizations, in going into middle schools and high schools and colleges and talking to young men about dealing with anger, about how they treat women. I think that's where you're going to see change. I think that right now all of this reactive behavior is not going to change it as much as going in and going into the school systems and the younger spaces and really reprogramming how we raise men.
Yeah, we're fucked. Alright, let's talk about the second way in which this is a feminist utopia, and that is the nanny state. I'll let Sandra Bullock explain this one.
You, give me a Marlboro.
Yes, of course, right away. What's a Marlboro?
It's a cigarette, any cigarette.
Smoking is not good for you, and has been deemed that anything not good for you is bad, hence illegal. Alcohol, caffeine, contact sports, meat.
Are you shitting me?
I don't need to go too far into this one, but is it really hard to imagine health and safety laws like these? Free will's already been off the table in this society anyway, so I'm not really surprised. And you think it's crazy? I mean, look at the current scrutiny that the NFL's come under lately. And this scene's a great segue into the next feminist utopia ideal, offensive language policing.
John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
What the hell is that?
John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit.
Bad
for a
language,
violation
chocolate, gasoline, uneducational toys, and anything spicy.
Yes, feminist utopias would have no offensive language. None whatsoever. I mean, imagine if they could monitor your words at all times and give you citations for every microaggression. And this leads us into the next way in which this is a feminist utopia. Masculine behavior is derided as primitive, and that's the current cultural norm.
Caveman, the Demolition Man's an animal.
Well, if you had read my study, you would know that this is how insecure heterosexual males used to bond.
What do you think you're scratching, Caveman?
John Spartan, you are fined
Me,
1
Don't need the Neanderthal. Cares what this primate thinks.
Oh, here comes the Neanderthal. What would you say if I called you a brutish fossil, symbolic of a decayed era, gratefully forgotten?
I don't know. Thanks.
Well, you get the point. So, how else is this a feminist utopia? Well, how about men being sensitive?
I don't know. Lately, I just don't feel like there's anything special about me.
You are an incredibly sensitive man who inspires joy feelings in all those around you.
Makes you want to puke, doesn't it? How about affirmative consent?
John Spartan? There is, of course, a well-known and documented connection between sex and violence. Not so much a causal effect, but a general state of neurological arousal. And after having observed your behavior this evening and my resultant condition, I was wondering if you would like to have sex.
Yeah, we're fucking doomed as a species. And look at his face. That's the look of a man who lost his boner in that moment of intimacy. And the link between sex and violence? Yeah. Not really very subtle there, is it? I mean, some feminists consider the act to always be violent oppression. So, why not just do away with sex altogether?
Now just relax. We'll begin in a few seconds.
Begin what?
Having sex, of course.
This movie predicts so many things so accurately, even VR sex.
What's wrong? He broke contact.
Contact? I didn't touch you yet.
But I thought you wanted to make love.
Is that what you call this?
First sex has been proven to produce higher orders of alpha waves during digitized transference of sexual energies.
All right, Hopsley, what do you say we just do it the old-fashioned way?
Ew, disgusting. You mean...
Yeah, he means PIV, and I know that thought's kind of revolting to you. So, have I sufficiently made the case? Good. Now let's talk about the issues of an emasculated society. For example, dealing with conflict.
Maniac is imminent. Request advice.
With a firm tone of voice, demand Maniac lie down with hands behind back.
Simon Phoenix! Lie down with your hands behind your back.
Look at them. They're so pleased with themselves. They know exactly how this is going to go. It's unthinkable to them that he might not comply.
What's this? 6 of you. Such nice, tidy uniforms. Oh, I'm so scared. What, you guys don't have sarcasm anymore?
The disdain this man has for Captain Sweden over there is clear. And this is a direct parallel to the conflicts going on in Germany right now. The police are literally terrified of the Muslim gangs. They've been neutered, paralyzed, and the Muslim gangs know it. There's nothing these police can do, and they show the same level of respect for authorities as this man does. Let's see how the emasculated police deal with the situation.
Maniac has responded with a scornful remark.
Approach and repeat ultimatum in an even firmer tone of voice. Add the words, or else.
Simon Phoenix! Lie down on the ground, or else!
That look says it all, doesn't it? You can't command this man into compliance. You can't verbally assert your dominance over him. You really shouldn't try to unless you can physically dominate him. As a society, you have removed your ability to protect yourselves by suppressing the masculinity that protects you.
Lucky number 7. Oh! Okay.
We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence.
You see, we have become a society of peace, loving, and understanding, and we are, quite frankly, not equipped to deal with this situation.
The second pitfall of the society is the Orwellian suppression of liberal values in the name of the collective good.
While you were sleeping, everyone in the city was installed code. It was a brilliant idea by Dr. Cocteau that an organically bioengineered microchip be sewn into the skin.
Sensors all over the city can zero in on anyone at any time.
I can't even conceive a visual of what you police officers did before it was developed.
We work for a living. This fascist crap makes me want to puke. You got the salt over there, Bob?
Salt is not good for you, hence it is illegal.
Even you must appreciate the persuasively tranquil humanity of the cryo-prison system.
I don't want to spoil your dinner, pal, but my cryo sentence was no sweet lullaby. I had feelings and I had thoughts. How about a 36-year nightmare about people caught in a burning building?
You were awake? I don't think so.
I do think so. And my wife beating her fist against a block of ice that used to be her husband. Then you were nice enough to wake me up and let me know everything that meant something in my life is gone. It would have been more humane to stake me down and leave me to the fucking crows.
And just to nail the point home, we get the voice of Sargon of Akkad as played by Dennis Leary.
See, according to Cocteau's plan, I'm the enemy. Because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order of gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in the non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green Jell-O all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. You live up top, you live Cocteau's way. What he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Your other choice? Come down here, maybe starve to death.
This movie was fantastic. All of its predictions are coming true. Even this one.
Car.
Hold it. The Schwarzenegger Library?
Yes, the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library. Wasn't he an actor when you...
Stop. He was president?
Yes. Even though he was not born in this country, his popularity at the time caused the 61st Amendment, which states that...
I don't want to know.
Despite this movie being made in 1993, prior to Arnold's career in politics, an attempt to amend the Constitution for Arnold actually occurred in 2004. So let's talk a little bit about the relevance of this film to today.
Access granted, Officer Huxley. Accessing Simon Phoenix, Deep File Rehab 65R, Urban Combat Kill, Torture Methodology, Computer Override Authority, Survival Tactics, Terrorism Tactics, Weapons Training, Martial Arts, Murder, Death, Kill, Explosives Technician, Violent Behavior.
1993. It really was a different time. It was a time when words like terrorist and explosives didn't necessarily conjure up images of a Muslim. This film, for all its graces, asks the question, what happens when you mix a feminized society with hypermasculine terrorists? And it unfortunately missed one key element. This film existed before cultural Marxism took root, and thus, this futuristic society was able to come to the conclusion that you can't simply integrate backwards values into a harmonious culture. The migrant crisis of Europe that's going on today is a prime example of this, but we as a society are unable to address it. What this film failed to predict is the element in society telling you that you can't blame Wesley Snipes' character for his actions. It's just a cultural difference, and saying that the problems are in his actions is oppressive and racist. It's paralyzing our society from addressing the issue at hand, and because governments are not addressing the problem, vigilantes are becoming the demolition man. It used to be that you could condemn barbaric behavior, but modern society has made this taboo. This oppression of speech is causing massive unrest in a populace that is currently under assault, and witnessing a complicit government. The filmmakers could not have predicted this. The idea that horrific acts would one day not be condemned was unthinkable back in 1993. The Feminist Utopia and Demolition Man will never come to be. Not that we would ever want it to. One of two things will happen in the next 20 years. Western man will reattach his balls, or civilization will fall. Thanks for listening.
How can you justify destroying a $7 million mini-mall to rescue a girl whose ransom was only $25,000?